Hi guys, and welcome to another episode on Amazonia YouTube channel. For today episode, we have Noah from My Amazon Guy, very special guest. Noah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, my name's Noah. I work with my Amazon guy. We are a full service Amazon agency dealing with everything A to Z that Amazon has to offer. I myself am a bit of a jack of all trades, been in the e-commerce space for a little over a decade at this point. I've done pretty much anything and everything you can imagine on e-commerce platforms. And so, yeah, very happy to be here with you today.
Nice, nice. So I'll be free to ask you a bunch of questions then, since your experience is so wide. But for today's episode, we decided to go. We're gonna talk about storefronts, a little bit about creating storefronts, a little bit about best practices, what to do, what not to do, and I think Noah will be sharing a few examples. But let's start with an app apart for an absolute beginners, like what a storefront is and why having a storefront is that important, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Amazon storefronts are interesting. So on Shopify, let's say if you have your own branded Shopify store, everyone goes and they are going to be looking at only your products, right? And they are going to be searching through, looking at everything you have to offer. On Amazon, on the other hand, you're a lot of times going to be looking at essentially tons and tons of different brands. It is a marketplace, right? With very, very broad scope of view of what you can find on it. Stores in general on the platform are essentially the one place that you have as a brand to have all eyes that someone has on you, right? So if they are looking specifically at your store, it's just you. You don't have to worry about the competition or anything like that. Once they click on your product pages, right back to the aspect of showing tons of other sellers. So
Right.
stores really are powerful in the sense of capturing the eye and keeping it only on you on Amazon,
Like you have the stage and you control everything.
essentially. You get
Yeah.
to,
Yeah, I was comparing the other day, randomly chosen two brands. I think it was, yeah, around the knife blocks. Yeah. So there was one brand, really a lot of sales, a lot of good reviews, good rating, and the other one was the same. But the main difference for me was that when I clicked on a brand name to access the storefront, one had a really nice looking storefront, really showcasing the brand name and the story and everything. Really, immediately showing me that they're serious brand and serious about their products. While on the other hand, when I clicked the other one, there was nothing. It was like when you click on on that brand name, it's like another search page with just products and
single
ads.
single product just sitting there by its lonesome, nothing else around it. And
Catastrophe. And so I immediately like, okay, I'm not gonna buy that. So it really makes a difference. So yeah, I strongly suggest anyone who's just starting to just enroll, start with the storefronts. So that covered. What would you say that are some of the key elements that every storefront needs to have? Like something is better than nothing, but still, I suppose that
yeah,
there are
absolutely.
rules
I
to.
think let me do this. Let me share an example of what I would consider to be a really good storefront. So this is just one of the ones that I decided to pull up here. This specifically is just Nature's Bounty, huge brand on Amazon and in retail across the entire US. A big thing when it comes to a storefront is you have a few different sections. You specifically have your banner. So this is typically going to be utilized just to expand on what your brand name is, show your brand motto, whatever that might be. Then you have your actual search bar. So you have everything that you want to have people click on. This is modular, right? So we can essentially choose and pick whatever it is we want to show up here. After that, that's when we get into the actual store aspect of things, right?
Mhm.
Nature's Bounty does a really good job of how they lay out their store. They start off with a just easy ad commercial video for their product, giving easy, people are happy with their product, love that. Straight into their actual value prop. So, what is the purpose behind their type of products, right? And then into the different categories that they have. And they, instead of having, a specific bestseller or hair and skin like they do up in here, they say what each one is for. So, play, heart health, thrive, digestive health, adapt. And each one of these is a different little bubble that you can click on, and it takes you to those areas. The one aspect where I think they are messing up a little bit, they have two of the same exact bubble. Difference is this one is not linked. Past that, instantly into all of their products, right? So they sell supplements, they sell pretty much anything you can imagine. They're just showing their products in order based on their brand and type. So you can see every single one. This, in my opinion, is how a brand store should be laid out. They are essentially giving you options to click in. The only thing in a brand store like this that you'd want to look at changing would be the idea of having a little bit faster appeal to products, right?
Yeah, just
People have
wanted
to
to
get
say that. Yeah,
through, yeah, people have to get through a lot of stuff to actually finally see a product. Obviously, they have them all here. They have their different ones up here in the bar. You can go through all of their different categories of depending on what you're needing. But that's the only area where essentially you're going to run into some issues when it comes to actually having some engagement on the platform and on your store is they just don't have their products front and center. But they do a very good job again with trying to guide the end consumer through the storefront as a whole. So with that example, that's how you lay out a store, right? That is the purpose of an Amazon storefront is to try and get people involved and clicking through the store rather than just using it as only another guide for, hey, here's my product, purchase it again, right?
I see. And since you mentioned that, okay, this is just a slight issue with it's truly amazing storefront, but since you mentioned that's a mistake that the products is a little bit lower on the page, then what are some of the common mistakes that you see that people make when creating storefronts, if you can name a few?
I think some of the common ones that I see are people who try and treat a storefront the same exact way that they would a Shopify store. So, Nature's Bounty honestly is a little close to that if it wasn't for the fact of how they laid everything out. They laid everything out really, really well. But again, I think the big part is not pushing their products in a way, not doing correct linkage. That's one I see a lot, where people will not have the correct link. So, for instance, one of those boxes, if you click on it, it would just take you right back to the store instead of to a product, maybe.
Yeah, it breaks
Uh,
the cycle and just
exactly.
flow.
Just broken links, out of stocks being like the first thing that someone sees. That's horrible, right? If someone clicks onto your store, imagine it's a Shopify store again, and someone clicks into your website and they see the very first thing is a giant banner that says, "Hey, sorry, we're out of stock on this." They're probably not going to click any further. So Amazon store is the same way. I have another example of kind of that as well. I'll share here, which is it's a newer brand actually on Amazon, AG1. This is a huge, huge brand, close to $1 billion company, I believe. I use the product every single day, actually. But the big thing here is that this has been a fully Shopify based e-commerce company up until recently, right? And like their brand store shows that where they are very much just playing off the fact of, hey, we're AG1, we know that. Your nutritional foundation one scoop, they don't have any extra details about the products here. They don't have anything in between. Same thing with all their ingredients. And the thing is, you click on all these and it just takes you right to the same product every single time. So every single one of these links that they have here
Yeah,
is to the same product and it just links to the same. So they're not really doing anything with their store here outside of just putting all of the same. And if we just click, back into the product again, all of those different areas are there just images. So they're not doing anything new for their store that isn't already on their product page. So
yeah.
it's making the store essentially useless for any actual use case.
Yeah, but I keep seeing such examples on various other places. Like big brands can very often neglect some of the things, partly intentionally or partly because they're so big. As you said, you that um, having an out of stock item on a first page of storefront is really um, what's the word? What's the word that's not a bad word?
it's kind of like a taboo, I guess,
Yeah.
and
So
but that's also the difference there. They are a big brand where 99% of people, if they make that same decision the AG1 does, and honestly, AG1 has done fantastic on Amazon so far, but if they made the same decision that AG1 does on their storefront, that's going to hurt them, right?
yeah.
That's going to cause some definite conversion and definitely some click-through rate issues.
Yeah, since it's I think many people look at the storefront like it's a set and forget part of the Amazon business. But you said it well that having not only having fully optimized but maintained storefront is crucial. So it brings me to an idea that it should actually be a part of a team or a VA at least to occasionally check what's happening over there, just not to miss those important sales over there, and should be a routine check, I would say. Um, how I love the topic of mobile. So how mobile optimization on storefront? How big of a role does that play?
I would say it plays a much bigger role than people think. Especially, in this day and age, majority of all work that happens on Amazon stores, on Amazon in general, is being done from a computer, right? It's not really feasible to do all of the work on Amazon from mobile. And it's something that I preach constantly that people need to understand 60 to 70% of all people who are shopping on Amazon are shopping from their mobile phone.
Right.
If you have a storefront, product page, anything with details, and it is just, tiny little text on pictures or anything like that, people aren't reading that, right? So when it comes to developing, an Amazon storefront, that's always something I'm going to make as sure as a check is that people, before anything is uploaded, hey, did you check this on mobile? Is it readable? Is it legible? Can you still have a good format for your mobile device? So that's a really big thing. And with that, I mean, even the brand store storefront analytics nowadays will let you check the traffic based on device type, right? So that's something that I would always encourage people to do, and they will likely be, see that, oh, I get a large percentage of my traffic from mobile. Or if you're like a B2B type product, oh, it's coming entirely from desktop. So always tailor your storefront based on where you're assuming your consumer traffic is coming from.
Yeah, and since you mentioned those analytics, very often I get the feedback when I suggest an Amazon brand or a seller just to check their storefront insights. They were like, "Oh, what?" Like they even they don't know that it exists, but not to mention that actually using some of the insights over there. Okay, they're not super powerful. I wish that it's closer to what we can see in for example, Google, but still, there are few good things that can be drawn from that.
Yeah, it's more of a like guiding factor, right, than it is anything else where it essentially uh the insights that we have there show us that storefronts, we can see the engagement, we can see their click through. It shows a lot in that sense of, hey, where are we going to actually be getting the most out of this? Guess what? The majority of the time, the place you are going to get the most out of your storefront is your homepage because the actual click through rate and dwell time on most, and I say most, not all, but most storefronts is going to be sub 60 seconds, right? Somebody is usually spending less than 1 minute in total on your overall storefront. So if you need to get that attention from them and you need to get it really quickly.
Yeah, I remember one supplement brand on Amazon we were helping with. Their process was like immediately when they have a product launch, the launch product needs to be on the homepage, like the first thing that somebody sees. So that was like an SOP, and it did good, to be honest.
No, it does. I think something I always tell people is if you are launching a new product, I always will encourage people to push that new product as the very first thing someone would see when they go to their homepage or to their storefront, because that is just a very simple and easy way if you already have some storefront engagement from your brand to instantly get some impressions and some clicks onto any new product.
Right. And how do you think how seasonal uh, changes for the holidays can impact sales? I've heard that it helps, but I never did any actual use cases for that, like special theme for a storefront. Does the thing or move a needle in the right direction? What do you think?
I think it moves the needle just a little bit, right? So I'm a big proponent of, for instance, that like store banner at the top with the brand name I showed for like Nature's Bounty. That's the type of thing that I'll always be like, hey, around Christmas time and seasonality, throw a wreath up there, throw a bow up there, or something like that, right? It'll help out, not a ton, but it definitely helps in some capacity where if someone's already shopping for that kind of stuff and they see that, it's just kind of another little psychological indicator towards your brand. Do I think it really helps with overall conversion on a brand? Maybe, but I doubt that there's that much data to really substantiate that.
Yeah, one thing I would love to have an opportunity to test would be to create a storefront that is completely created like a sales funnel towards a single product, like just to see if, as you mentioned, the homepage it has the dwell time of no more than 60 seconds. So I would emphasize that one page and just drive like a landing page towards the certain maybe newly launched product and just dedicate homepage to that and then maybe have somewhere like look at our other products or something like that. So I wish to test something like that in.
Well, I mean, I think that's generally probably majority of sellers, right? Majority of sellers are super small business. There are maybe one, two product shops, and for their storefronts, absolutely. If that you only have one product, I'd still encourage you to do a storefront. And at the end of the day, it's not that hard to put together. And if you only have one product, that makes it even easier, right? Just drive it all to that product, add some value prop stuff to the storefront to kind of give your brand a little bit of recognition, give your product a little more information. If someone's clicking on your brand store from your single product, it's likely that they already are kind of interested in it. And all you have to do at that point is try and convert. So I would look at the storefront for single product sellers as nothing but like a conversion engine.
Right, right. And what do you think about incorporating customer reviews and testimonials into storefront?
I think customer reviews, not really. Realistically speaking, I don't think reviews are going to matter that much for majority of sellers when it comes to the storefront. Testimonials, I think, will matter more if it's, some big name testimonials, right? So if you have like a really big testimonial from, I don't know, like a Business Insider, let's say, or something like that, some really big brand name. I think that would be nice to put on there, but for the most part, past that, the only thing I can really think that would work is, maybe adding a video testimonial if you have any of those onto the storefront, but nothing that's really going to move the needle largely. Again, you have to provide as much value and try and push as much conversion as possible in under 60 seconds. So whatever is going to move that needle is going to be kind of the best for you. One of the big things that I'm always going to push is again under that insights section. Amazon has an engagement feature, and that engagement feature lets you see essentially, your views, your click through rate, as well as like your top clicked product. So always, I would say that people should be checking out that engagement and see where on their store people are actually engaging with. 9 times out of 10, they'll see that it's whatever the very first product that's shown to them on the homepage is.
Okay, can you use that for, I don't know, A/B testing your storefront pages?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly kind of how I would use it, right? Is, if you see that you have one product that is getting, the most amount of clicks, maybe it's your hero product, maybe it's not on your storefront, do nothing else to your storefront, but just change which product is in that spot. See if it changes and people still click on it. That means that essentially your storefront is built out in a way that everyone is guided towards that one product or that one spot. And it also helps you down the line of seeing, here's how I can kind of increase the amount of traffic that any one of my listings is getting anytime.
Yeah, I'm really not an expert on storefronts, so I love the fact that you're here, so so you can help me with something. I practically try to stay away from it for so many years and just stick to the PPC because I know I cannot learn all of that.
Absolutely. Well, and
And everything.
storefronts, yeah, storefronts realistically, I have always looked at them as a secondary aspect, right? They're never going to have that many impressions. I mean, I have worked with, brands that are doing 20 plus $1 million a year, and their storefront on a 30-day given basis is only getting 10 to 20,000 views, right? Maybe a little bit more. So even from that aspect, you're not necessarily getting the most amount of engagement on storefronts comparatively to your overall impression load, but it's still one of those areas that it can helps with conversion. It helps also to have the one-stop shop for everything, and can kind of also help with that average order value when you add all of your products together there.
I see. And how can sellers optimize their front storefronts for better searchability on Amazon? Are there any tricks around that?
Not really. The only one typically that I would kind of recommend to people would be essentially if you're trying to push your storefront more, obviously doing sponsored brand helps a lot just because that's, pushing your storefront more. But
Yeah,
past that, it's not something that people typically are pushing all that much. And, for good reason. Sponsored brand is expensive and it, typically has a lower conversion overall comparatively to something like a sponsored product. So, is it something that people should do if you're, already pretty high up there in your ranking and you're trying to take over some more market share within a very specific category? Yeah, I think it would work and help out. But from a overall kind of aspect where you're like, hey, should I push this? Should I not push it? There's not a huge ton of ways that people can really push their storefront other than that.
I see. I see. And we started with advices for beginners, so I would like to wrap up with the same. Uh, for somebody who just started, obviously there are so many financial obligations towards the inventory and ads and everything. So for somebody just starting out, what would you recommend? Like, it can be a significant investment if you decide to go with a professional help towards that. So if for those who decide to do that and can afford it, I fully recommend to contact you. But what are some of the advices that you can share for people who want to do them themselves, like in the terms of design or size of the or of the front storefront or images? So are they good to use AI or just pull some royalty-free images? So anything that you can share, I'm just guessing.
My recommendation will always be the same here, more than likely, and that is using Canva to create your first storefront. The very first video that my Amazon guy, Stephen Pope, our founder, posted on our YouTube channel was him creating a brand storefront for a brand as a not technical designer type of person, and just making it himself using Canva. Canva, in my opinion, is just a great software for especially people who aren't designers. Myself, I am awful at design. I'm not a creative person in the slightest. And even I could create a storefront that is at least halfway decent using Canva. So, look, if you're just getting started, that's always going to be my recommendation there is, using a software like Canva. They have templates for things like this as well on their platform to make it super simple for anyone as long as you have like a logo, that you can upload. And so absolutely just use something like Canva. Look at some YouTube videos for resources on how to do the uploads, how to make sure you have the right dimensions, things like that. So it's a lot simpler, I think, than people initially imagine.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I was we had a family trip. We visited our friends. They have 3 kids, and one of their boys, I think he's 10, and he's already proficient in Canva. So like he's killing it. So
It's
he's
a Canva's a great software. It's cheap, it's reliable, and
fun.
pretty much anyone can use it.
Yeah, so that's also a big plus for me. I haven't been able to dedicate time to it because I do that like on ad hoc, like just quickly create a LinkedIn post or something like that. But I know it's pretty powerful. Um, so any last advice that you can give us before we wrap it up?
Um, Storefronts, data is king. Don't expect to get a million sales just because you open up a storefront. Again, it still is a marketplace. It is not Shopify. It's the closest thing you can get to having the customer's attention entirely captured on you, like your own, website. But at the end of the day, it's still Amazon, one click away, and they're just bombarded with more brands and products. So it's good to have. Not hunt the most necessary thing in the world, but definitely is good practice to put it together and have a one-stop shop for all of your different items.
Nice. And what would be the best way for somebody to contact you?
Yeah, if anyone's wanting to have their brand store or storefront built out, which we can do, just head on over to myamazonguy.com. We have all of our services listed there. You can also head over to myamazonguy.com/brand story or brand store. Both of those would be a place where you can read a little bit more about what we can do, but we have full design services, an entire in-house team of designers who it's all they do all day long is just make different storefronts, brand stories, brand stores. So definitely check us out. More than happy to talk to anyone who wants one.
Nice. I knew that you're gonna throw us some link. Like,
I
I
got
think,
I got all the links. We have a backlink for everything.
yeah, I think that even if somebody types like myamazonguy.com/something, that they're gonna see something really interesting.
We don't have it. We also, if you're ever just curious, just try it. And if we don't have a page for it, we have a pretty funny 501 page that has a funny picture of Steven, our founder, on it. So you'll
Gonna
have
check
to
it out.
try and see that sometime.
Okay, Noah, thank you for all the insights you shared. It was really an interesting talk for me.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bye bye.